Channel. Hey, hi, a great and warm welcome to the channel, and I'm really amazed to see you back here. Today, I have turned up with the most trending and the lavishing topic of the era, and that's big data. Yes, you heard it right, big data. I don't think it's wrong if I say that, it's data which is reshaping the modern era and compelling us to observe the trends of everything in every field through the lens of data, through the data analysis from the perspective of data and its trends, the changing trends of the data. So it's very important, it becomes very important for all of us to understand that how the world is slowly progressing to become a data driven world. Yes, this term is very important, data driven world, because today every organization, every company, every person, in your personal life also, you can observe that we work on data, our personal data, and then we try to plan something accordingly for the future. So big data is so important. Now the term big data, we'll be understanding this term in a very explored manner throughout this entire video. So I want you all to be with me throughout this video to understand this most trending, most lavishing, most attracting term of the era, that is big data. So it's not just a term, it's the term which really impacts today, okay, for building tomorrow. So let's start. So from this particular slide, we can see that big data analytics is indispensable for today's business. Yeah, of course, it's very important. It holds a very important place for today's business to shape the business today, to make it a developed one for tomorrow. So we need data. That data is called big data. It's used in the field of data science, data analytics, and according to the International Data Corporation, as it's written there, big data and analytics had a market revenue of more than $150 billion worldwide in 2018. So it's a great amount. So let's move on with the video, and I want you all, please stay tuned with this to understand this very important term of this era. So let's begin and move on to the next slide. What is big data? The data that has the following properties. It's just a term, following properties. It has multiple varieties of properties that have turned up now, and that's growing and that's increasing up in the number. But I guess that these three are very important, and these three have been with this big data from the beginning. So I've mentioned them. That is, first is variety. Different varieties of data we get. Structured data you must have heard about. Unstructured data you must have heard about. Semi-structured data you must have heard about. The YouTube that you're seeing now, after seeing, I'll get some kind of analytics from this, like you will like it, you will comment it, you will share it, you will forward it. So everything will be mapped up in some data format, and that data format will be having a data type, and that I'll be getting back in the form of the graph, in the form of the visualizations. Those are created back through the data that you are sending, through the data that I will be receiving through various videos of mine. So that is also kind of big data analytics. They are analyzing it in the back through codes, through different kinds of data processing techniques like Azure you must have heard about, AWS you must have heard about. If you are from the technical background, you must be knowing these things, and if not, don't worry, it's not so great thing, it's okay. You don't worry about the different technological processing techniques, don't worry about that. You just understand the term big data, because everybody is generating some data in one or the other way. You are going into a bus, you are going into a, you are watching a YouTube, you are surfing internet, you are going through Google, you are working on Instagram. Everywhere you will find you are also contributing some data to this house of big data, and you are also helping somebody on the other side to have some idea about you, and based on that they'll provide you recommendations, they'll provide you visualizations, they'll provide you your good suitable things. Okay, so let's move on with this video. So the data has the following properties. First is variety. So various kinds of varieties of data you will get. After that, volume. Huge volume of data is getting generated. As we move on with this video, you will understand that how much data is getting generated, not even not within an hour, within a second, particular second, you will understand that how much data is generated, and that will make you like you will understand the how important it is becoming, and arrives at a high velocity. Yeah, I said 1 second, that is even countable. That I mean, that will trigger it, that how important big data is, how it is generated, and in what varieties these are generated. So let's go on with the slide. These data are huge, in huge volume, like in petabytes, 10 to the power 12, I guess, and are not possible for traditional software devices to process them. Yeah, of course, processing them is important. We need that data, but processing is very important. We process that to make out and to some insights from that. And till now, at the videos that I've made, I have just used that term many times, that we are drawing out an insight, a meaningful thought out of that, a meaningful thing from a non-meaningful thing. That is the main thing, and then that helps the organizations, me, you, to develop for the future, to plan for the future accordingly. Like suppose you are studying, what is your marks in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? That's a trend that you are developing throughout the years. And in class 10th, what is your marks? That will also be matched up with that, and a trend will be created, and based on that you will be advised, like take science or commerce or arts, and then based on that marks, if I mean a trend is created, and then your family members or my family members will decide that what should be the choice of mine, which field I should step in, where will I be getting success. So that's just a trend. It's not like that if they're saying that will be right only, but yeah, of course, that's a trend, and that trend speaks today. Okay, the data speaks today. So this is big data. So in simple words, this data is unexpectedly very large and are more complex data sets, and especially arrives from new data sets. Yeah, of course, they're very complex data sets. I said they are in the different formats and they're very complex. Big data refers to data sets whose size is beyond the ability of the typical database software tools to capture, store, and manage and analyze. Yeah, of course, capturing is one thing, then you'll have to store, because huge volume of data is there, so you'll have to store it somewhere for analyzing it and managing it, fetching it, deleting it, adding it, removing it, cleansing it. That's a part of data engineers. So this all things are done. So these days, huge volume, variety of data is being generated at a very fast velocity, and that is impossible for traditional data processing softwares to process them and is termed as big data. So this is the thing. Let's move on to the next slide. Important V's of big data. This is very important term, and I think we should all know about this three V's of the big data, because if you are not knowing this 3 V's of the big data, then the meaning of the big data, or why it is being getting generated, how it is getting generated, that will not be very much clear. So volume, variety, and velocity, this is the thing. These are the 3 V's of big data. More V's have come, as I said, that they're getting added up in the number, but in the initial phase, these 3 V's are very important to understand. The quantity of data being generated is huge, and that determines whether to call that data big data or not. The size of the data determines the value and potential insight. Yes, of course, if the huge volume of data is there, of course a better insight could be drawn out of that, and that will have a greater potential than smaller volume of data. The volume of data could be in petabytes or terabytes. That is terabytes, petabytes you have seen in the before slide, that is 10 to the power 12, but here terabytes, 10 to the power 3 GB. You could understand that how great the volume is, so how important and how dangerous it becomes to store them, because even if a single data is lost, there might be problem in the trend. Actual trend could not be observed, so that is very important. So that's why I have termed this V's as important. Variety, the type and the nature of the data, like these days from structured to semi-structured to unstructured, it will be unstructured actually, format of data are being generated. Yes, of course, everywhere. The data that you get from YouTube, the data that you get from a video, the data that you get from any Instagram, Facebook, they are unstructured or semi-structured data. Okay. Big data is data collected via social media, log files, sensors, etc. Big data draws from the text, images, audio, video. It completes missing pieces through data engineering techniques. Of course, we do data cleansing. We like add on the some value where there is no value, we remove the null values, we remove some extra special characters, so to make it a meaningful data, and then hand over that data to the machine learning or Power BI team, and they produce a kind of visualizations for our better understanding within minimal time. So that's variety. Now velocity, how speedily the data is getting generated, how fast the data is getting generated. I heard it from some place, like I was going through some paper. I saw that it was written that if we refresh once a particular social media website was there, if I refresh it once, 30 new additions are there in that website, or that was a social media site, I don't remember the name. So there'll be 30 new additions or 30 new posts in that if we refresh it once. So how fast the data is getting generated, you could understand from this. So let's move on to the next thing. As I said, there are two more types of V's that has emerged with time, that is the veracity and the value. Veracity means it refers to the data quality and the data value, that is along with huge volume of data should even be reliable, should even be the data huge volume, the data should even be reliable to bring in correct and accurate analysis of that data. You understand that why are we storing that data? To analyze that, to make it useful, to turn it and convert it into useful thing. That's why we are storing. So how much we can rely on that data, that the trend or the visualization that we are getting, how correct is it, how useful it will be, or how meaningful or accurate analysis we are able to do from that data, which will help the organization for the future buildings, for the future plannings, should even be a point of thought. That's why veracity has come, and value is also one of the sub points we can say of the veracity, that is value. How important or how accurate information that data is going to provide, or the analysis that we are going to derive from that data, how accurate that analysis will be, how accurate that could be taken is very important. That is also one of the V's of the big data. So with time that is emerging, and on net if you are going to search, you will find the multiple number of V's. I think 2-3 more V's are there, but they are of least importance for the timing. This 6 V's, I mean 5 V's I have said, are very important. So let's go on to the next slide and understand. So data generation through multiple means, through multiple sites, through multiple places in the sense websites, social media platforms, LinkedIn, and different other places, platforms. We are generating data every day. In fact, I would say every hour, I would say less than hour, every second we are generating something, every second, millisecond we are generating something. We are adding up some data, we are contributing to the world of data and to the world of big data. So you, from this slide, you can make it out that how important data has become. Twitter produces more than 230 million tweets every day. How great this volume will be, and how difficult it is to manage this much of data and to analyze this much of data. This is, and the most important thing is, these are unstructured data. They are not producing any structured format of data. Okay, so technical guys could understand this, that when we analyze this data, we need some data warehousing and all. So the data that is being produced by the Twitter will be in the XML format, that is the semi-structured format. So first important thing is to store that at some viable place. After storing, we'll have to cleanse that data, clean the entire data volume, and then work upon that. So that is also an important work those data engineers are doing these days. Now Facebook, yeah, of course, everybody, whoever is seeing this video, I think you should be knowing this. What is Facebook, whether you're using it or not, but you should be knowing about this. So more than 30 petabytes, 10 to the power 12, that's 1015 bytes of user generated data is stored, accessed, and analyzed on Facebook. Yeah, of course, Facebook has to do that to build up the future trends of Facebook, how it is going to develop it more, so that customers could use that in a very flexible manner, in a very user-friendly manner. Okay, so 30 petabytes of data is getting generated, and that is being stored. On YouTube, yeah, we know 300 hours of video are uploaded every minute. This is the focus point. That is, every minute 300 hours of video is getting generated from Google, from email, from LinkedIn. You can go through this. I mean, you can see how important this has become these days. Let's move on to the next slide. Benefits, what we are getting it, what they are giving, like from big data we are storing, analyzing, managing. What benefit are we getting? Any kind of benefit? So in the house of benefit, the major benefits that I have mentioned, there are multiple which I might even not be aware of, but I think these are very important points which we should be knowing, since we are going through the phase, whichever field you are, whether technical, non-technical, you are generating, you are contributing, so you must be knowing that this data is very important. Even if you are filling up a form while taking a SIM card, that is also your data, and that is also going to some telecom company, organization, and they're using that in the form of the big data to analyze. Even if you are using Twitter, even if you're using Instagram, we don't know that we are generating data, but at one side data is getting generated, on the other side data is getting analyzed, on the other side data is getting visualized, visualizations are being created, and we don't know, but it's somehow very useful. So be aware of this big data benefits. Better customer insights, yeah, of course, for an organization this is the most important point to be noted. In-depth understanding through visualizations for the customer, for the organizations also. Better and advanced decision making, yeah, for any organization, for us also, for individuals also, it's very important to make a better decision making with the help of the data, with the help of the trend of the data that has been generated throughout the years. Helps in presenting data analytics, yeah, of course. When we are analyzing that data, we'll be trying to present it through analytics, we'll be trying to present it through different technological tools these days are being used, like Power BI is used, Tableau is used to provide this data analytics. Yeah, of course the spelling is wrong, but it's analytics. Fraud detection, data insights helps escalate the productivity. Yeah, of course that's important, and that's happening these days. Like I'll give you one example. In 2014 elections of our respected prime minister, this trend was used, this technique was used, like big data analysis was done to win over the elections. So that is one of the very important points, and I think one of the US presidential election also, they have used this technique to win over, I mean to understand and analyze and understand the public mood, so that they can just work on that and win the election. So more insightful market intelligence, data driven innovation, smarter recommendations and targeting, of course training models. Yeah, in case of artificial intelligence field, we need data that is in the structured, semi-structured, unstructured, I mean not in the unstructured, mainly in the semi-structured and structured data, and then we train that models, we make that feel a real human being, feel as a real human being. So through that data only we do that. Okay, so let's move on to the next. That classification of big data, there are mainly many types of big data classified as human generated data, machine generated data, and this institutional data or organizational data can be included in this category, machine generated. I have included this, but this is also one of the distinct type of big data. So in human generated data, that is unstructured but have the capability to provide deep insight for better optimization. Yeah, of course. Today, almost all the organizations rely on this data to know their customers and accurately target their marketing approach. Yeah, that is the main point, or that is the main thing for which big data plays a major role in any organization, any company, any place where we want to reshape that, we want to develop that. In that case, better for taking a better future approach, it's market, it's particular human being, anywhere big data plays a very important role. Types of unstructured data, like human generated data are generally unstructured only, so that's why it's unstructured. Types are like videos, audios, XML files, spread sheets, structured like database. Okay, machine generated data, data generated from various sensors, cameras, satellites, bioinformatic and healthcare devices, audio and video analyzers, etc. With the advent of sophisticated internet-enabled smart service, that data has become a bit useful. Yes, advent of internet-enabled smart devices. We can say internet-enabled websites, social media platforms. These all are generating that machine-generated data. They are also in the form of the unstructured data, semi-structured data. And institutional data or organizational data means like the data which is being generated from any organization. Like if you are working in any organization, your details, your manager details, your company details, your HR details, everything, that is also a kind of data, and you will be analyzed on that, based on that data also. So thank you. The video is over, and the most important thing that I would like to say is this is all about big data. It's very important. It's playing a very major role in the field of developing the trends from back trends to the future trends. So that is very important these days. So please watch this video. Since you have watched this video till the last, thank you for that. And if there's any mistake in the presentation, or any mistake you found in the throughout the video, while going throughout the video, like any spelling mistake or any presentation mistake, please ignore that. My main thought is to reach out to you with useful information. Presentation does not matter. The thing is that information that is being given in this video should be very important, should be usable by you, and should be benefiting you in one or the other way. So that is my main motto. And if there's any mistake, please like ignore that or forgive me for that. And please do comment. And thank you. Thanks a lot for watching this video.